How's the day going? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for clicking on this reaction. My name is Edgar Rock DJ. I'm a Kenyan rock DJ, professional rock DJ here in Kenya for about 10 years. Recently, I tried pulling for Shilon and failed miserably. And now Hu Tao is on the character banner for Genshin. So I only know her. I only saw her character trailer. That's all I know about her. Her character trailer is that she's like this ghost chick. So yeah, so I YouTubed, I searched in YouTube, is Futa worth it? And this video came up from Braxophone. It says, watch this video before you pull for Huta. It has 340,000 views. I want to check it out. For more Genshin reactions, make sure to smash like and subscribe. Let's go.
It's no secret that Hu Tao is a fan favorite. She's a quirky character, and to be honest, if you've used the internet a single time, you've probably seen some Hu Tao fan art. Now, whether it's her looks, or her design, or her actual character strength, people really like Hu Tao. It's been a heck of a long time.
Yes, I've actually heard a lot of people saying that Huta is a fan favorite, and me, I was like, huh?
Time since her initial release, which means it's time to re-examine how strong she is and if she's worth the pull. When Hu Tao did release, she was one of the best characters in the game. Then again, early in Genshin's lifespan, we had an extremely limited roster and were lacking a lot of the nuanced knowledge we have now. So it's safe to say that quite a few things have changed. Hu Tao was good. In fact, Hu Tao was great. Your strong units in Genshin's first year were Xiao, Ganyu, and Child, and Hu Tao was right there with them. She got better as more players started doing animation cancels with her, and to this day, she's still very strong. But in this video, we're taking an objective look at her performance now with new knowledge and mechanics that we didn't have in Genshin's first year, as well as talk about her constellation value. Hu Tao's role in Genshin is as
Wait a minute, this video is from 2023? Yeah, from 2023. I don't know, maybe much has changed in the last 1 year, but let me just watch this so that I can get more info, because I don't know anything about Huta apart from she's a ghost chick.
a pyro damage dealer, and in her case, she's best paired with Xingqiu and Yelan, which are two amazing hydro units. Now, in something like Spiral Abyss, which is sort of the only hard content we can talk about in this video, Yelan and Xingqiu are some of the most wanted characters for different teams. Their hydro application and secondary effects are insanely strong, and therefore almost any team benefits immensely from using them. That said, without them, Hu Tao's power level is a lot lower. Vaporize is sort of a necessity if you want to make the most out of Hu Tao. Not saying you can't play her in Mono Pyro or an Overload team, just that those two aren't quite as strong and don't let Hu Tao reach her full potential. But also many characters are like that. Any pyro damage dealer that uses Vaporize, which is most of them, is going to struggle from the same thing, so I wouldn't really count this as a negative for Hu Tao, just something that you should be aware of if you're deciding to pull. A negative that I do want to talk about though is how difficulty can lead to frustration with the character. I do feel like most content creators do talk about how you need to animation cancel to maximize her damage, but not a lot of them talk about how bad she can feel to play without them. When you play Hu Tao, you spam charged attacks and you cancel them by jumping or sprinting after the cast. This allows you to get more charged attacks in per window, which massively increases her damage potential when combined.
She's a pyro character, and I like pyro characters. Like, I like using Xinyan a lot, Xiangling.
With Vaporize comps. By jump canceling, you can lose a charged attack or two in comparison to sprint canceling, but it helps with stamina management, whereas canceling with sprint can mean more damage, but not having any stamina afterwards. You're going to run out of stamina during her combo if you sprint cancel anyways, so you'll have to jump cancel some. Now, in order to try and circumvent this, a lot of people started recommending a different combo, which is using two normal attacks instead of just one between every charged attack. This would be the higher skill ceiling and make the character easier to play. However, most people are just not going to do it. Many viewers of this channel are going to be more invested in the game and try to learn how to use N2C, but for the vast majority of the player base, they're just going to spam charged attacks, because an overwhelming majority of players don't really care about that nuance of optimization. All of this changes at Constellation 1, which makes you not use stamina to charged attack, but without it, you're sort of just out of luck. Now, of course, all of this is opinion-based, but there's quite a few players that don't really enjoy Hu Tao's gameplay loop at Constellation 0. This information is compiled anecdotally. I've been told by many players in various comments and over my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/Braxophone that they don't find her fun to play. Many players I've spoken with have chosen not to play Hu Tao because they don't find find it fun specifically to manage stamina and lose damage if done poorly. Having a high mechanical skill ceiling is something semi-unique, since not every character has a particular animation cancel that you have to perform over and over, and it is extremely rewarding to learn if you do put the time in. However, if you choose not to learn it, her power level does drop a fair bit, and if you don't enjoy that playstyle, she may not be a character that you want to go for. Now don't get confused though, Hu Tao is a very strong character even without animation cancels. In fact, the reason I brought that whole thing up is more to put her power rating into perspective. If you do play her optimally, she can be argued the best pyro damage dealer. However, when you take into account ease of access as well as ease of play, she becomes fairly comparable to other pyro characters. Hu Tao, though she can hit multiple enemies, can be argued a single target pyro DPS. When stacked up against characters like Yoimiya, she has a higher damage ceiling in single target assuming optimal play. Without optimal play, the two become more competitive damage-wise. Conversely, when you have characters like Xiangling who are extremely free-to-play friendly and can net insane pyro damage over an area, it becomes more difficult to justify Hu Tao as a pickup for meta players. Now again, I really want to drive home that Hu Tao is not a bad pickup as a character, and she is incredibly strong. This whole video is just a realistic look at her value compared to other options, which we will continue to dive into. Nothing has really changed for Hu Tao in terms of her getting stronger or weaker. With the exception of Yelan Double Hydro, Hu Tao has stayed relatively the same power level since her release. However, as there have become more and more options for different viable teams and playstyles, there's been less meta reasons to pull for what were once considered to be top damage dealers, and more reasons to pull for their supports. For example, a Hyperbloom team has an
Yeah, like he keeps talking about Yelan, and I keep getting the vibe that Hu Tao is more of a support. Like she works better with other characters, not as a main DPS solo.
styles, there's been less meta reasons to pull for what were once considered to be top damage dealers, and more reasons to pull for their supports. For example, a Hyperbloom team has an absolutely absurd damage peak and doesn't require insanely powerful units in order to get high damage. Characters who aren't entirely useful stat-wise can still make a solid Hyperbloom team that can tear through endgame content, which in its own way makes top units less relevant as a whole if your goal is just to clear Spiral Abyss. But with that said, it also creates more of an incentive to pull for who you like.
Speaking of clearing Spiral Abyss, I beat the first 3 floors and got Xiangling, so yeah. So yay to that.
Which sort of
Yeah, I'm saying yay to that because that happened right after I lost on the Shilonen banner.
leads me to the main point of the video. Genshin Impact has had a history of making certain characters insanely strong while making other characters feel a lot worse. Since Hu Tao released towards the beginning of the game, she is one of those naturally strong characters. But with the release of Dendro, those characters that didn't have great scalings before now can dish out tons of damage and clear Spiral Abyss as well as high-end event content. And if you complete your goal that way, it doesn't really matter who you pull for that much. There's tons of pyro DPS in the game. A lot of them can do things similar to what Hu Tao does or at pretty close levels. Yoimiya, Xiangling, and Diluc are all great pyro damage dealers that can get the job done. But there's also plenty of non-pyro carries that'll allow you to clear high-end content. So if you are looking to pull for Hu Tao, in my opinion, it's more important that you look at a different criteria from her overall power rating. While it's true that you can just pull Hu Tao because she's strong, and you would be totally fine for that, is Hu Tao a character that you'll enjoy? If you're pulling for her power level, are you ready to learn how to animation cancel to get an extra 150k damage or more even in your skill window? Is her playstyle something you see yourself wanting to use? And would you be willing to spend more wishes to get her constellations and or weapon in order to make her feel better? Hu Tao may be free to play friendly in the weapons department since you can use white tassel, but if she's uncomfortable to play at C0 for you, it may be worth reconsidering. On that same note, Hu Tao's
The reason I'm reacting like that is because in Genshin, it's never just enough just to get a character. You have to get her constellation, you have to get her to see, I don't know, C5, you have to upgrade her weapon. Oh god.
Constellation 1 is a massive quality of life change. Going from C0 to C1 Hu Tao can really change your entire experience with the character. I've had C1 since her first banner, and in my opinion, if you go for C1, you'll have a lot more fun with her and have an easier time maxing damage. But as always, I recommend getting other characters over Constellation Constellations just because I think the game is more enjoyable with more characters rather than one maxed out one. As an example, Yelan's also coming up, and she's a character that's amazingly versatile and can be used in many teams without Hu Tao. You'd have a much better team with Yelan and Hu Tao Z0 than a C1 Hu Tao team without Yelan. A similar logic can
Wait, repeat that.
amazingly versatile and can be used in many teams without Hu Tao. You'd have a much better team with Yelan and Hu Tao Z0 than a C1 Hu Tao team without Yelan. A similar logic can be applied to weapons, though it is worth noting that the weapon banner this time around for Yelan and Hu Tao is going to be absolutely insane and have two incredible weapons on it. Don't get baited, the weapon banner is a scam, but if you do want to
Thank you.
risk it, this is sort of a decent banner to do it on, as much as I hate to say it. With Hu Tao's rerun around the corner being accompanied by so many other great characters and weapons, it can be tough to decide what you want to roll on. The main reason I wanted to make this video isn't to tell you exactly what to do, but to give you some food for thought going forward. There's a lot of great units in this game, tons of great DPS characters, and sometimes they'll all be right next to each other and out of reach for free-to-play players. Hu Tao can be an amazing pickup for you, but before you roll, just make sure that you think about your goals within Genshin, whether your goal is simply to clear Spiral Abyss, or if it's just to play the characters that you think are cute and fun or whatever they might be. Then again, if you're getting Constellation 1, then all of that sort of just goes out the window. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below, and if you want to see more of my videos, subscribe down below as well. Follow my Twitter for updates at Braxophone, and if you want to see live testing, ask questions, account reviews, or just other live content, make sure to follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Braxophone. I'll see y'all again soon. Until next time.
All right, that was pretty cool. Some really nice stuff to consider before pulling for her. Yeah, so the time I'm making this, she's on the banner with Nahida, I think. So I was like, I know very, very little to nothing. The only thing I know about Hu Tao is her character trailer where she has ghosts. And to me, I was like, meh. And then now she's a fire character, but I already have so many fire characters: Xiangling, Xinyan, Diluc, you know. Anyway, if I get maybe Nahida first, then I can consider getting Hu Tao later. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to smash like and subscribe. If you want to see that video where I failed to pull Shilon, I'll leave it on screen. And for my other Genshin Impact reactions, I'll leave them also on screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.